This is Jock and Graff.
Hi, I'm Neil Collins.
You are listening to the Unused Substitutes.
The Unused Substitutes.
And you're listening to the Unused Substitutes.
Get off the bench!
Hey there, Little Red Riding Hood! I got a problem and it's complicated. Going through text and I just can't ignore the signs. Hear them now and it's so loud it hurts. Hear me growl, hear me howl when the full moon is out.
Off the row, ball's gonna bounce, Dennis Free in the box. Bicycle kick! Goal! Rowdies! What a play! What a shot! And it's 1-0 Rowdies!
You're listening to another episode of the Unused Substitutes, live on Radio St. Pete, part of the Beautiful Game Network, and presented by Roughneck Scarves. This is being recorded late on Wednesday night because someone's computer caught the coronavirus and we could not make the live show happen. So it is Wednesday night. It'll be Thursday by the time you hear this, most likely. My name is Matt. On the other side of the show is Steven. Steven, how are you?
Thankfully, not dead from coronavirus yet.
You look good with the mask and the garbage bag over your head and everything. Like the sound quality is really good on that new mic, so I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, well, it's not a garbage bag though; it's a bucket. It's a bucket that's over my head. The video quality on our feed is obviously not good enough.
Well, like everything else, it's a technical part of the show. It's just not good enough. But what is good enough is we have a new executive producer. We have a couple new people qualified for it. I'm going to throw them in here in order of which they have come to us. Thank you, guys. We've had a nice uptick in donations. I don't know why, but I'm incredibly grateful for it. We appreciate it. But I put in for our executive producer this week, our man in South Carolina. He's always prepared. He's always faithful. He's the guy. You've seen him in the Wall Street Journal yelling at young Marine recruits because that is what his job is. Thank you, Kevin, our executive producer, Kevin Vicario, for the week. We've got the last preseason game to break down. We've got an interview with Evan Louro. We've got a little bit of a preview for Red Bulls. We've got a Rowdies Women full schedule and road trip potential. We got some predictions to make for the season. Let's get started. Steven, Rowdies traveled to USF last week. Really? Because remember, for a while it was like they played USF one year and then they played University of Tampa the next year, and and now it kind of seems to be USF is every time. Can we just start calling this the green and gold game?
I mean, I'm okay with that. That sounds good.
Rowdies close out their preseason slate with the traditional game at USF. Came away with a 1-1 draw. Steven, you were there. Tell us your perspective on the game.
So I know that everybody is going to be really downtrodden because we didn't beat the crap out of a college team. It's okay. It's okay. There weren't a lot of us there, so I'm sure most of you listening to this show probably didn't get the chance to watch this game. Neil very specifically went out in that game with a very possession-based, possession-oriented theme. And a lot of it was trying to build defensive cohesiveness. A lot of it's trying to strengthen that midfield that is, in my opinion, the biggest question mark on this team right now. The game itself, the scoring opened in the 25th minute. A poor touch from Jordan Doherty led to a turnover deep in our end of the field. It was a very easy 2-on-1 against Forrest Lasso, which of course, you just don't have a chance to stopping, and Bill Hart ends up putting that away. What's interesting about that is that Bill Hart, from what we understand, is actually a potential player on the Rowdies U23 squad this year. So kind of cool to see that happening as far as a potential combo of him scoring against the senior team as it is. But all is not lost. The Rowdies end up scoring in a dying moments of the game, 90th minute, just a long ball hope chance sent in over the top, and Tejada wrestles the ball away from a defender, dances around a goalkeeper, should I say, and slots one home in stoppage time of the second half. It was purely effort on his part that made that play happen, and that was his trading card all of last season. So it is great to see that fire has not gone away on him, that he is still doing what he does best, which is just being relentless. One unfortunate part about the game itself was that Sebastian Dalgard, in his first game of being actually a named player of the Rowdies and not just as trialist, Mystery Man, he did get a bit of a knock of an injury in the 15th minute of the game and did end up exiting the field. I believe I saw him with his thigh wrapped up. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but they did take him out as a precaution. To let you guys know, the starting lineup for the game this week against USF, we had Gonzatti and Murphy up top. I pretty much entirely anticipate them being the starters for the start of the year. We had in the middle, we had Hilton, Doherty, and Aduro being the three in the middle. I think it would be fair to say that that's probably going to be expected for our three center midfielders. Steinberger obviously is a potential possibility there. Lomas maybe could slot into one of these roles. There's a different pieces that can play in there. The outside mids to start the game, obviously Dalgard got hurt. When Dalgard got hurt, we put in Lakawecki. And then on the opposite end of the field, we had Mustafa Demboya. And then our back three, and again, I'm assuming the back three plus goalkeeper this is what it's going to probably end up being. Scarlett, Lasso, Guillen with Louro in the back. I think that's fair to say. There was a lot of substitutions, and one that was kind of a required substitution. The semi-highlight of the game was Forrest Lasso getting a little naughty on the field against a couple of USF players on a couple of lazy and harsh tackles. Yeah, he got a double yellow against a college team. So, yeah, we kind of shook things up there. I'm going to be honest. I know we put in Awadesu, one of the academy kids. I honestly don't know who was playing what, because at that point it was on the opposite end of the field from where I was standing, and I really couldn't tell who was in that center defender role and how we kind of reshaped things. I'm not entirely sure, but I think overall, as I look at this team, I think we've got a starting 11 that's solid at this point. Obviously, Malik Johnson will come back from injury. He's going to make that even better. But I think we're pretty much good to go at this point. I think this team is ready. They looked ready. Everything, all the things are clicking. They've looked great against the MLS teams, or at least the reserve MLS teams, if you want to be more specific. I don't know about you, but I'm excited that the season is finally here. It's finally upon us. We're ready to go. I am psyched to be at a watch party this weekend. Bring it on.
I just let loose an 800-degree pyrotechnic smoke device, holding it in my hand right now. I'm melting and falling to pieces. I can't even see you anymore, Steven. Excitement to the roof. One of the guys that we're excited about, one of the guys that's going to be in this lineup, we think is going to be our new starting goalkeeper. We had a chance to talk with him a little bit earlier this evening with the host of the Raising Bulls podcast. You guys that are supporting us on Patreon, we're going to have that audio exclusively for you guys. If you would like to get a chance to hear this on a new little feature we're calling Pop and Smoke, exclusively for Patreon subscribers, you can go to patreon.com/unusedsubspod. Any level of support, $1 a month, gets you access to these audio files. More support gets you access to other things as well. You can check out all the benefits there. But our own Jake Nutting sat down earlier this afternoon. I didn't even know this was going to be a thing. And then I'm at work and I keep one tab open with my Gmail. And I always get notifications whenever a call has finished. And all of a sudden at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it's call completed with. And sometimes if it's someone we've talked to before, like it says Jake and my name pops up there because it runs the account through, it runs the call through my account. And then there's the other number and sometimes the name. And I'm like, who did Jake talk to? Because there's a couple things that could be going on that we could be talking to somebody from the team about these days. But then he shared the audio with us. About 12, 13 minutes of conversation with Evan Louro, whose first game is going to be against, it looks like, his previous club, the team he last played for during last season, Red Bulls 2. So here is Jake with the audio, and we'll be back shortly afterwards.
Hey, is that you, Evan?
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Jake Nutting. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Great. Happy to talk to you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. We're only a few days out from the season here. I know the fans are getting excited. I imagine you guys are getting pretty antsy and anxious to get out there as well.
Yeah. We're definitely excited. I mean, it's good to finally get games that mean something. Obviously, preseason was really good and all that, and it was very useful to get a bunch of guys 90 minutes, and especially with our team, we got a lot of new guys, a lot of new pieces. So getting that continuity is really important. But yeah, finally, all the preparation is done, and we can kind of get into the real thing here.
So I kind of want to look back a little bit to the start of the preseason. What was your reaction or sort of mindset when you found out that New York had declined your option?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I was there for 11 years, a little over 11 years. I kind of knew, at least kind of tail end, at least maybe halfway through the year, that it was a possibility. So I kind of wasn't, I wasn't super surprised, I guess, when the news came out. But I'm grateful for the new challenge. I think it's definitely gonna help me develop. Going somewhere new, living somewhere new. Playing with guys. I was playing with guys that I played with since I was 12 years old. So, getting that aspect, moving to a new team, I think is really gonna help my career for sure.
So yeah, I mean, you were with the Red Bulls organization since you were a kid. So what was that process like for you then when you were looking for a new spot to go and that new opportunity? What were you looking for and hoping to find?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a stressful process, and luckily, my agent and I are very, very close, and he was on top of it, and speaking to me every day about potential opportunities, and the main thing I was looking for and was kind of taken aback by with the aggression that Coach Collins and Lee Cohen had in me, and the day, I don't even think it was the day after. I think the day that the news came out that I wasn't going to be staying with Red Bulls, I got a call from them, and they kind of expressed their interest we're really on top of it and kept pushing the envelope and trying to do whatever they possibly could to get me down here. And that was honestly the main thing I was looking for, is that I wanted to play for a team and a club that valued me and really wanted me there, and that's kind of exactly what I got from the Tampa Bay Rowdies and their whole staff. And I'm really excited and super grateful for the opportunity.
I was talking with Lee Cohen a while ago, and he mentioned that basically you were a top target, a high priority for them, basically from the start, early on. And once they found out you were definitely gone from New York, they jumped on the opportunity, and it took a little bit of a process, but they finally got you there. Did you hear about or see any interest in MLS opportunities when you were looking?
Yeah, I definitely had a bunch of interest in MLS. It honestly just came down to where I felt most comfortable, and like I said, the aggression and how Lee and his staff kind of approached the situation and made it very, very clear and very known how the plans that they have for the season and what they think of me, I think kind of swayed my decision. And I mean, Tampa Bay today, it's what, March 2nd, 85 degrees. I can't really beat that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Beautiful
absolutely.
weather.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if you're aware of this, but when the news started to leak that you were going to sign with the Rowdies, some Rowdy fans, their reactions were, man, I hated that guy, but I'm so excited to see him come to Tampa Bay. and I think that's totally meant as like a sign of respect, because so many times you were that guy that Rowdy fans and even players. I remember Joe Cole, after I think it might have been the playoff match where you had such an outstanding game, they frequently Rowdies fans and Rowdies came away saying, man, that guy, he was their best player on the field and he stopped us so many times. So I'm hoping that if you saw some of those reactions from Rowdies fans, that about the hatred, that you saw it as a sign of respect.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't really fault fans for supporting their team to the death, but I'm glad to be on this side now and not receive that hate anymore.
Yeah, those matchups between the Rowdies and Red Bulls too were there's always seemed to be a little extra in those ones. Their teams were obviously talent on both sides, but the passion always seemed there too from both sides. Did you guys enjoy those matchups with the Rowdies over the years?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can ask almost any player in the Eastern Conference that their favorite, one of their favorite trips is coming down to Tampa Bay. Whether it's because of the weather, just the general St. Pete area is super nice. The stadium, you're going to get a really packed house, and it's going to make it a real good environment for a game. And the Tampa Bay Rowdies always have the quality on the field. So, for me personally, I couldn't really have asked for anything more, and I'm excited for what's to come and finally get that first home game, and obviously build this beginning of the season to help us get on a real run here.
So yeah, this is a new opportunity for you and a lot of new faces for you. How are things going in terms of building that chemistry with the defensive group in front of you? I know obviously having Jordan Scarlett come down with you helps in terms of continuity, but how's that going overall, do you think?
Yeah. Jordan was actually my first text when he found out the news that I was coming down. But yeah, I mean it's been really good. This will be my fourth season as a professional, and with going to numerous preseasons with while I was a academy player and with the New York Red Bulls, I can honestly sit here and say this has been one of the best ones I've been a part of. And in terms of everyone came in super fit. All of the tactics are coming together really well, and for the returners that they've all welcomed me, and really helped my transition. And a lot of the new guys that I'm coming in with, I either, like you said, I've either played with or I've played against, a bunch of years. So, and honestly, at this level, you'd like to think that everybody, is kind of has the same base, and we can kind of build off of that, and trust each other, and I think it'll come together quite quickly. Honestly, honestly, it's pretty good right now. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, we just played a couple MLS teams, and I think we really gave them a really good test, and there's certainly things in those games that we can do better. So it's keeping us really optimistic for the future.
Yeah. So looking ahead to this weekend, then you're homecoming already for you. Going into New Jersey to play RB2. Why do you think that Red Bulls have been so successful at home? Do you think there at Montclair?
Honestly, I think it's not really specific to them. I think it's a lot of teams are really good at home just because you have that comfortability. You sleep in your own bed. You don't have to take a bus or a plane the day before, and you're just comfortable, and you got a set routine. I mean, in terms of specifically with the Red Bulls, I think just having being a 2-team, you can bring a lot of guys down from the MLS team to get minutes and stuff like that. So I think that's a lot more easily accessible when you're at home, because you don't necessarily at the last minute can always fly somebody somewhere. But I think that's a big reason. I think it's turf. So a lot of teams also, that's a factor too, because especially being down here in Florida, like, we got super nice grass, you know what I mean? And that's definitely an issue. But at the same time, like, both teams are playing on the same field, and it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, it's a soccer game wherever you play. So yeah, we'll be ready.
Right on, yeah. So you're a Jersey-born guy.
Yeah.
I assume you still have some family up there in Jersey.
Oh yeah, my whole family's still there.
So are they going to be heading out to the game this weekend then?
Yeah. So yeah, I was having a bit of an issue getting enough tickets, but luckily I put in a call to some of my old colleagues, and I obviously I still have a lot of friends in that organization, so they're kind of helping me out. But we got a lot of guys on the Rowdies that are either from that area, like New York, a bunch of guys. So
Totally.
hopefully we'll have a bunch of support up there for sure.
Totally, yeah. I've heard from Mike and the guys about it's been a hassle some years getting enough tickets for all the guys from New Jersey and New York before when this team travels up there.
Yeah, it's definitely I mean, it's not a massive stadium, so I guess they don't have the ample seating arrangements to kind of just start throwing out tickets. But luckily they've been pretty good about helping past guys, whether it was Andrew Tenari here last year and stuff, and myself this year. So yeah, hopefully we'll have it all sorted out. But yeah, I got a good contingent coming in the game for sure.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I know. I remember last year that Seba Guenzati and Leo Fernandez had a pretty substantial cheering section for themselves on one side of the stadium.
Yeah, I think they had more fans there than Red Bull 2 did. Just those two guys.
Yeah, hopefully you have some green and gold gear to pass out to your family and friends too.
Oh yeah, they already came. They already took a trip down here and raided the store down in downtown St. Pete. So they'll all be decked out for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, good to hear. All right, man. It's good talking to you today. I appreciate it. And I'll be at the game Saturday, so I'm looking forward to see you guys out there in action.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Jake, for that. I love the little organ intro and outro on that. It's fantastic. Like we don't have a theme music for Pop and Smoke yet. That's something that could possibly be a contender. Maybe we can persuade Jake to let us use it for that. Or our new friend we made tonight does podcast music as well. We got some options. We might use another Wolfface song if they're cool with it. So we got a little bit of league news, some stuff that came out today. Some stuff just came out, I think, just tonight. In former Rowdies news, Junior Burgos has signed with the Las Vegas Lights, so he'll be playing for Gimmick FC in the Western Conference. Did you see what they're doing with their home jerseys this year?
I'm glad that you put that in plural because yes, I did.
You got no audio, Steven. And I'm not even kidding this time. We made it an hour and 38 minutes, 39 minutes. Junior Burgos has signed for Las Vegas of the 17 or 18 different home kits this year. In news that will not necessarily affect the Rowdies, but we'll get a chance to see Tim Howard, the owner, sporting director, and now player for Memphis 901 Westworld FC, has unretired. You assume he's going to be the starter because otherwise this is a Vegas level gimmick. I don't know what kind of message it sends to the two other keepers on the roster, 20-something guys with MLS ambitions, other than either you're not good enough or it's my team, I'm going to do what I want. But we'll see. So we could be seeing Tim Howard taking the field at Al Lang, which we've heard whispers in the past that was the wish of previous ownership. Just not having him wearing the shirt of the other team. So, we'll get Bill will get half that wish coming true finally. But up first this weekend, the Rowdies travel to New York to face Red Bulls 2, Arby's 2, Baby Bulls, all of the kinds of pejoratives we can come up with. Last year, they finished with a record of 17, 11, and 6. They were 6th in the East. Lost 1-0 to Indy 11 in the conference quarterfinals. Head coach John Wolynick in his 6th season. Look, this is how late or how little information there is at this point of the year. Like they've got 9-10 guys on the roster, haven't even had their loans come in from the senior team yet. We're actually giving you the head coach info and the stadium info. They play at Montclair State University, Montclair State U Soccer Park at Pitzer Field. They had a ton of turnover in 2020. If you're one of our patrons, you'll hear Joe from Raising Bulls talk about some of those reasons and what's been different about this preseason for them compared to last preseason. Their roster consists of 6 returnee USL players, 1 new academy kid, 12 guys from the MLS level last year are still on MLS rosters, made Red Bull 2 appearances. And I think there's 2 Red Bull draft picks on the USL side right now. Their preseason training camp consisted mostly of unsigned MLS draft picks and trialists, and at least a pair of academy kids. Like one of these kids is 16 from last season were in camp with them this year. Steven, let's just pull some predictions out of our butts for this weekend with what little we do know about the opposition. What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, yeah, we're totally just randomly guessing at this point, especially when you got a team of, 9 players, really, that you're kind of technically looking at. I'm not expecting a victory. And I only say that in the context of last season. We had a couple of draws against some of the better teams in the league. Some teams like Nashville, for example, come to mind. So I am predicting 1-1.
All right, so you said 1-1 draw, which little spoiler alert, our buddy our new friend up in the New York area predicted 1-1 if it wasn't a lot of the MLS level players loaned down. If there was, he goes with a 3-1 win for Red Bull 2. Again, if you want to hear more of what he had to say, including some insight into what players might be making the leap down, you can go to patreon.com/unusubspod and subscribe, support, however you want to call it, and then you can hear the audio. I should have it out there. I'm going to try and get it out there on Fridays. Yeah, that's the safe bet to go with, I think, is a 1-1. Starting off the season, we've got a couple guys injured. I don't know if we're going to play our ideal starting 11 in Neil's mind based on some of the injuries and some of the other issues. So we'll look and see what comes out of this. But predictions, Steven, you want to do some kind of predictions for 2020? Tell me what you want, and I will try and provide some golden content for you.
Well, let's see here. Let's go with, what do you predict will be the final regular season record of the Tampa Bay Rowdies?
Final regular season. How many games are we playing now? Because we've got the whole Eastern Conference, but we've got 3 games against 2 teams or 3 teams? We play Orlando 3 times.
No,
right?
Not Orlando, Miami.
Miami, whatever.
Gosh, you're losing it. No,
I'm old and it's late.
no, it's still a 34-game regular season.
Yeah. All right. So 34-game regular season. Last year, technically, best year in Rowdies history, points wise, away wins wise. Can they match that? Can they live up to that this year? I'm going to go 10 draws. I'm going to say 8 losses, and then that's 16 wins.
16 wins. What if I told you that is exactly what the Tampa Bay Rowdies did in 2019?
Is that the exact record?
Yes.
I must know that subconsciously. I did not look that up. Wow.
That is amazing. I love you, Matt.
Wow. Well,
that is amazing.
I'm sticking with it. So that would be another good year then. All right, what do you have?
I'm thinking that we're not going to pull off as many draws. I think some of those will end up converting into losses. I'm actually going to end up doing, well, I don't want to go too doom and gloom, because I honestly think we'll be good. And obviously, we're going to be better than more than half of the league. I mean, man. I'm going to do 15 wins. I'm going to do 7 draws, which puts that, I believe, at 12 losses, is how I'm going to predict this season.
Ooh, okay. All right. Next up, what's the next category you want us to predict?
So last season, Tampa Bay Rowdies scored 61 goals going forward, which was second in the USL Eastern Conference. Do you believe the Tampa Bay Rowdies will score that many goals, or do you think they will score more than or less than 61 going into 2020?
I'm going to say less than. The Rowdies are going to score 57 goals.
I think I'm I think I am. That's a good number, because that's kind of where I was thinking. I think that I will say they're going to score 1 more than last season. So I'm going to go with 62.
Okay. All right. Next category.
Next category. Who will be the Tampa Bay Rowdies' leading goal scorer for 2020?
Georgi Ristov. No, wait, he doesn't play first. So last year was Guinzotti. Tejada was just behind him.
Mm-hmm. And now this year, of course, we're adding Murphy into the mix.
You got Murphy in the mix. You've got Lewis Hilton, who is good off of a set piece. You've got okay. Drop the 3. Carry the 1. It is going to be Sebastian Guinzotti again.
You think Guinzotti will do it? Okay. All
got
right.
You got a taste for leading the line last year, scoring the goals. He's the penalty taker. All those contribute. I think he's gotten a taste now for scoring lots of goals. It's Sebastian one more time.
I think Sebastian does fantastic this year, but I don't think he ends up being the leading goal scorer. I think Murphy will end up having I think Murphy will surprise us all, and I think he'll have a great year for goal scoring.
All right, breakout season for Murphy predicted. Any other categories?
Let's do one more before we do season end predictions. How about and this will be different. How about the total number of shutouts for the Tampa Bay Rowdies in 2020? How would you predict that? I think we had what did we have last year? I think we had 9 last year, if memory serves, or something to that nature. 9 or 11.
10.
10. Go figure. Right in the middle of both.
I'm gonna split the difference between your possible numbers, and I'll go with 10.
You'd do 10 again.
McCarthy was a great goalkeeper. I think Louro has a chance to be one of the best goalkeepers in USL this season, and I think he might. No disrespect to John, I think we may not notice that there's been a change in the back. We may even see some improvement. Who knows?
I'm actually thinking, in terms of shutouts, I think you'll see, technically speaking, an improvement in the number of shutouts, because I think our level of quality amongst the worst teams in the league, I think that distance got a little bit bigger. So I think you're going to see more shutouts, because I think we're going to do better against those lower performing teams. So I'm going to say I'll go with 11. I'll go with 11 shutouts.
All right.
And so finally, we come to the coup de grace of the whole thing. How does the Tampa Bay Rowdies 2020 season end?
Goodness. This is a tough one. All right, we're definitely a playoff team, in my point of view.
What position?
I say we finish third.
Interesting.
Say we finish third.
Keeping in mind, 16, 10, and 8 was your prediction for standings as far as the final record, and that was good for 5th last year.
Yep. I think we get up to third with that this year.
Interesting. Okay.
And I hate to, man.
Yeah.
I hate to not.
I got him on the ropes, people.
I hate to say that we're not going all the way. We haven't even played a game yet. The potential of the season is, it's like the final Calvin and Hobbes strip, where it's like the whole outdoor is just pure white snow. It's all this room to explore and play. It's a whole canvas waiting to be painted on. We're gonna lose in the conference final. We're gonna lose. I can't give you any reason why. It's just the little voice in my head, the one that speaks English. That's what it's telling me. There's one back there in German. I have no idea what it's predicting, though.
I think based on the numbers that I was predicting for final record, I don't think we're going to finish higher than 7th this season. I think we'll end up dropping 2 positions based on the points that I predict we're not going to gain. I think, though, we will go out. I think we'll make it one round further in the playoffs than last year. So I don't think we go out in the quarterfinal round. I think we end up going out in the semifinal round.
So we get a win. We get a home win. We're going to open the playoffs at home, in my opinion, not yours. If we're finishing seventh, I don't think we're going to get a home win. And then in your mind, I say we go on the road, second round. You say we lose. I say we win that one. Maybe in penalties, maybe in extra time. Then we go to the conference final, and our hearts are broken. I don't even want to tell you who I think we lose to in the conference final because I just can't bring myself to say it.
So one of the things that I had a chance to talk to several national speaking heads was, how do we see the USL Eastern Conference playoff bracket shape out? One thing that's interesting is, okay, so of the 10 teams, Nashville's gone. So one team from last year is automatically going to be making the playoffs this year that didn't last year. There's a spot open already. Now, that being said, Ottawa is also gone, but pretty much everybody universally agrees that Miami's going to be good enough to be a playoff team of some caliber this season. So it really is going to be a question of who's going to be the team that joins these 9 as it is. Because pretty much everybody believes Pitt, Indy, Louisville, the Rowdies, New York Red Bulls, North Carolina, Charleston, Birmingham, pretty much everybody expects that same group of teams to be back again next year. They don't see anything changing. So the question ends up being, if that's the case, who ends up being the other team? Is it St. Louis? Is it Loudoun? Is it Charlotte? Is it Memphis? Let me give you a hint. It's not going to be Memphis. I think that St. Louis ends up overcoming the 1-point hurdle that they missed out on it last year. I think St. Louis will end up joining the playoffs this year. I think that's my team. That'll be the difference. I don't see Charlotte making the jump. I don't see Memphis making that jump. I certainly don't see Hartford making that jump.
Okay. I can't argue with that. Any other predictions we need to go over?
I think that is it for me. I will say this. There is no clear front runner for who's the favorite in the East. That is pretty much a universal truth. It was pretty much universal last year as well going into the season. The Eastern Conference is absolutely up for grabs.
You want me to tell you who I have finishing ahead of us if we're third?
Go ahead.
Indy and Louisville.
Which is a fair point. Neil Morris made a fantastic observation. Martin Rennie, as a head coach, has always had his worst season with the team in the third season. Kind of like one of those random Mourinho rotations where like every third year is bad. Martin Rennie has always had a bad third year. He gets a lot of issues where they overexpand the roster and some players get very disgruntled for not having playing time. And guess what happened this offseason? They again expanded the roster.
Interesting.
So, yeah, Neil was like, Neil it was a great comment because obviously it's something I had never noticed before. But he was like, yeah, Indy is going into the season with big hopes, but historically the trend goes against a Martin Rennie third year, and this is why. And I was like, wow, I can't argue with an expert, and he gets paid for this. So like real money. This is his job. I can't argue with that. That is some sound reasoning for why he would expect Indy to have maybe a down year, even though everybody seems to be expecting them to be like the team.
Okay. All right. The other bit of news, last bit of news, and we'll wrap up and get out of here. Finally, it's been a long night. It's almost 11 p.m. on Wednesday night now. We have the full WPSL Rowdies Women 2020 schedule out. Steven, walk us through it.
So it's an 8-game regular season. One thing that I did not research at all is if there's any playoffs or anything like that. All I know is that there's an 8-game regular season at the moment. It starts with a home game. It's a Sunday morning against Florida Soul FC. Then we are on the road for a couple of weeks. We play at Florida Elite, at Team Boca, and at Surge FC. And then it's the week of the ladies. 3 games in 7 days.
Well, and even if you go back to that 2-game road swing, the Team Boca and Surge FC, those are back-to-back days.
Those are back-to-back days, yes. June 6th and 7th.
And then within the next week, the 13th, the 17th, and the 20th. Who are we playing?
We have a team that everybody hates in Orlando. We've got Florida Crush, and then we have Sunrise Premier. So that Orlando Kicks game is Saturday, June 13th at 6 p.m. I fully expect the place to be packed, or at least a good crowd. There has to be a good crowd. And it was exactly what we thought, too. When we first saw the schedule and we saw what weekends were going to be open, that was one thing that, like, me and Lizzie were discussing is like, hey, those weekends in June are absolutely going to be women's games. And sure enough, that was exactly what we thought. Saturday, 6 p.m. Cannot wait for that. We will end the year with a road game at Florida Gulf Coast Dutch Lions, which I believe is a team that's down in like the Venice area, if memory serves correct. Like I said, I don't know if there is going to be a playoff game or not, but that is our 8-game regular season.
All right, I am looking at. Well, first, I need to look up and see where Surge FC is where they play at. I am looking at going at least over to for the Team Boca game June 6th. It's a Saturday. It's like the beginning of my summer break. They're playing at FAU, which is just a stone's throw or two away from where I grew up. My parents don't live too far from there, so I want to go over for that game. Gosh, that's even one I could get up in the morning, head over for, and maybe even. I don't know where Surge FC though. Maybe I'll come back and catch them in the next day, and then come back and gonna have some fun. So one of those games, the Florida Crush one, is Wednesday night, 7 p.m. So we may have to tinker with show schedule because I'm sure I mean, it's a Wednesday night. I got nothing else to do in summertime. I'll definitely be going up for that one. This looks like a lot of fun. I'm excited to do these games. I saw someone posted, someone down in South Florida posted last year that Team Boca Surge FC, that back-to-back. Both of those teams went, I believe, undefeated last year and let in very few goals. That's going to be a tough swing if they've got the same players on the roster. They got the same setup as they did last year. It's gonna be good. So we don't have like the typical home and away with these. Like we play some teams here, we play some teams on the road. It's 8 games, and then we'll see what happens after that. Anything else, or are we ready to wrap up for the night?
I think it's time to wrap up. We've been at this for 3 hours tonight.
All right. So thank you to Wolfface, to Radio St. Pete, and to Shamrock. I almost missed the We Love Yous. I'm going to send the We Love Yous out to Jake and to Evan for down and talking tonight, getting on the show. Thanks to you guys for sharing, subscribing, rating, and reviewing. Make sure on an ongoing basis, go to patreon.com/unusedSubspods, starting from $1 a month. Best way to support the show. Different levels are available. All levels get access to Pop and Smoke, the only place it's still legal on this coast of Florida. Thanks to our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, the official scarf supplier to MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. If you're tired of the same old uniforms and cookie cutter templates from Nike and Adidas, looking for a unique, completely custom kit for your youth club, Sunday League squad, adult, or even pro team, Icarus FC can help you create the kit of your dreams at an affordable price. Let them help you design your new custom kit today at IcarusFC.com. That's been it for us tonight. As always, we will endeavor to do better next time. See ya.
Go Rowdies.
The Rowdies were here, the Rowdies were there, they kicked the wall around. The Rowdies were here, the Rowdies were there.